Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Stolen Minutes podcast. My name is Carrie, and I'm coming to you from Ohio, where I live with my husband, our 2 girls, and 4 cats. You just saw Ramona go walking by as soon as I hit record. Let's see. You can find me on Instagram as Stolen Minutes _. I'm also on Ravelry as Stolen Minutes, and I have an Etsy shop, Stolen Minutes, where I make handmade project bags with my mom. And yeah. So on Ravelry, I have all of the projects that I'm going to talk about today listed with all of the yarn and knitting or crochet sizes and any modifications or notes that I made about the project. So if you have any questions about something, click Ravelry down below and hopefully your questions will get answered. So today I'm going to share quite a stack of finished objects. And I have 4 works in progress, and yeah, and I'll chat a little bit about what I've been reading and listening to. So let's go. I love to knit socks, and so everything I'm going to share that is a finished object is socks, and the majority of these I did start back in the fall before Christmas, and I put them on hold while I knit my Advent socks by Cozy Knitter and Freckled Whimsy. So a lot of these were all started before Christmas, and I just picked them back up, and I've really just been going through them one at a time. And so it's just been so enjoyable to just think about one project at a time. Ramona, she's climbing a table and chair over there. So, all right. So my first finished pair of socks, these are the Midnight Rainbow socks. This is by Peacock Fiber Studio. And as I said last time, she is going to no longer dye yarn. So, if she has anything left, I don't even think that it is something you get to choose. I think it's a mystery sort of deal, but love these socks. These are for my mom. I typically knit socks for me and my mom. She loves to come along with me whenever we go to a new area or something, look up a yarn shop, or she loves to go to a local festival with me, and she always picks up a couple of skeins for herself, and I add it to my shelf in my bookshelf. I add it to her shelf on my bookshelf, and then it is there for me to pull from when I'm ready to cast on something new for her. So these are hers. Actually, several that I have recently finished are hers for some reason. It's just how it happened. So I started these back in, I believe it was October sometime. I started like 4 pairs, and just none of them got finished. So that's what all of these socks, 3 more pairs of socks today, are from the fall. So finished these up at the end of January, and I've been holding on to them, not giving them to my mom because I said I need to podcast. I'm sorry. So these will be going off to my mom. Oh, there's Ramona. Now she's on the box. Okay, the next pair I have is Dusk by McMullen Fiber Company. This was a sock set that I picked up at the Wool Gathering Festival that is in Yellow Springs, Ohio in September. I have gone to that festival for probably the last 10 to 15 years. It's been a long time, but I love McMullen Fiber Company. This is on an 80/20 base, which I absolutely love. And this was from a sock set called Dusk. This was one of her fall colorways that she had at the festival. It came with 2 minis, this peachy pink color and this golden honey color. So that was super fun to knit up. I love these. These are mine. So I'm super excited to add these to my sock drawer. Hello, Chet. Going to show off himself. Okay, so the next pair of socks that I have finished, these are another pair for my mom, and these were these Regia? I think they were. What did I write? I didn't make a note of what it was. I think it was Regia. But I love this yarn. Oh no, it's not. No, it's not Regia. This was some hand-dyed, self-striping hand-dyed that we bought when we went camping several years ago. There was as I said, we always look up when we go somewhere, if there's a yarn shop, and there was, and I cannot remember the name of it, but I believe she doesn't dye yarn anymore, and I don't even know if the yarn shop is still there. But these were really fun and a little different colors than we might usually choose. My mom and I tend to gravitate towards pinks, and these are not pink, but super excited to give these to her as well. Okay, the next thing that I finished was another Musselburgh. So this was number 7 for me. And I'll tell you what it is knit up in, and then I'll tell you the story behind it. So this is all self-striping yarn. This is by, oh my goodness, Kirby Werby yarn. And this was in her Schitt's Creek 2020 colorway, I believe. And so I had bought, my mom and I each a skein of this because we watched Schitt's Creek and were obsessed with it forever and still love that. And so I bought us both a set to make us each a pair of socks, and I had extra left over. And so it had just been sitting in my stash, no plans for it, and I'd been wanting to make a Musselburgh with self-striping, and so this presented itself to me. Here's why I made it. Well, okay, so it's the same. I did run out at the end, and I just grabbed another self-striping, several. I believe I ran out somewhere around here, somewhere around in here, and I just added that in. I don't know if you would know if you didn't know. I don't know which way she will wear it, but this hat is for my mom, and here's why I knit her a hat. A couple years ago, I knit 4 of these. I believe the name of them is pull the wool over hats, and they're just you hold like 2 or 3 strands of fingering with a strand of mohair, and you just make yourself a nice basic slouchy hat. I put for pom-poms on them. Well, we took them and needed to wear them when we went to a band competition back in November. And she remembers wearing her hat then, and we got back and then she couldn't find her hat. And so she's like, oh, she's all distraught. She's upset that she's lost the hat. She doesn't wear hats a whole lot, just really when it's really, really cold. So it's not like she didn't have a hat to wear or anything, but she was so stressed that she had lost this hand knit hat. And so I'm like, oh, go look through all of your bags, double check in the car. But here's the thing. They rode with us for part of the time getting to and from the hotel back to the venue, and we had a rental car at the time. And she's like, oh, what if I put it in the seat pocket? And the interior of that car was dark, and so she's like, oh, and her hat was dark-ish, and she's like, oh, what if it fell on the floor and we didn't see it because when we got out it was dark and blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I know that I peeked back there to make sure there wasn't anything or whatever, but so, look in all your bags. I'm sure it's got to be somewhere. You'll find it when you dig through the closet or something, you know, it'll pop up. Can't find it, can't find it, can't find it. So I said, fine, I'll just get you another hat. It's not a big deal. Like, what kind do you want? And we talked about it, and she just kept saying, I really do like those double hats that you fold up. She said, I think I would like that on my ears, actually. And I said, okay, I'll just make you one. And so I pulled out those self-striping, and I said, these are like those socks. Do you want a hat with it? And she's like, yeah, sure. So that's when I started this. Okay, well, don't you know, this week, she texts me and says, look what dropped out of my bag when I was moving things in the closet. The hat. The hat fell out. So, and she says, well, that doesn't mean that I don't want that new hat though. So have no fear, Mom. This hat is yours. It is coming to you. And honestly, I know she would agree. Let's hope that you don't need to wear this anymore until like next winter. So hat number 7 for my mom. And it was a fun experiment to see how far I could get on a Musselburgh with the leftovers from 2 skeins of sock yarn after I had knit socks. So I got to the decreases, and then that's where I ran out of yarn, like about maybe 10 rows before the decreases. So there you go. Hat number 7. The next socks that I finished were the Zebra Yarns 12-day advent. I knit 2 pairs of these, and one for me, one for my mom, and she already took hers because, hello. I just showed them to her and she just kind of took them. So I said, that's fine. I have 2 pairs. So this is Anna of Zebra Yarns 12-day advent that started the day after Christmas. I did not start mine the day after Christmas because I was still working on my Cozy Knitter and Freckled Whimsy advents. But I started these within the first week or 2 of January, I believe I started them. And these were so much fun. I kind of feel like I flipped the color from what they started because I knit top down. And so this was where Anna instructed to start the color with, but I knew that I wanted the pink on my foot. To be able to, I love to wear my socks with Birkenstocks. And so I want that pink down at my toe. So I knit them both exactly the same. The advent came with the self-striping, and then it came with the speckled mini. And I added the hot pink on the cuff. I kind of went rogue with that because I just can't have too much hot pink. So that's what I did with that. And the next pair I just finished these last weekend. Another pair that I had cast on before Christmas. This was probably another October cast on that I did, or early November. And I got, I think I was maybe through the heel at that point, and then I set them aside so that I could work on my advents. So these are finished now. These are Kiss and Teal by Oink Pigments. And these were really fun. I just did my regular vanilla sock that I do, and heel flap and gusset is my go-to heel on that. And yeah, so these are fun. These are for my mom also. So she gets 1, 2, 3 pairs of socks, 3 new pairs of socks, and a hat. So super excited and happy to get those to her the next time I see her. And the last pair of socks that I have finished is a String of Lights is the pattern for these. This is by Sock Witchery. And the yarn is Spring Party by Mandy's Makings. This is from a couple of years ago, so I don't know if this is a regular colorway that she keeps in her shop, but it is just a lovely tonal. And the String of Lights pattern is a very, very easily memorized pattern. It's nice to have a rib pattern sock in your tool belt. So, yeah. So I am actually going to make 3 pairs in this yarn. This is a favorite color for my mom, my sister, and I. My mom has a bowl that as we were growing up, she would always take Jello with Cool Whip to any family function. And so she would often do like the cherry or strawberry Jello with Cool Whip. And so it would get to be that like, it would be pink and white, and the bowl looks like the cherry Jello with Cool Whip. So we always called that the Jello bowl, because really I don't have any memory of her ever putting anything else in that bowl. So anytime we see something that is like pink and kind of white and is sort of this mauvey, dusty, rosy pink color, we always just call it the Jello bowl. So this colorway just so much reminded me of the Jello bowl. So these are going to be our Jello bowl socks, and I am going to do a different patterned sock on each one. And I started the second one, and I just pulled a stitch pattern out of a stitch pattern book that I have, and I just plugged it into my vanilla pattern. So I'll show you that real quick. This is the first sock of the second pair that I will do. So this is just a nice, is it gonna focus? There we go. It's just a nice little textured pattern, and it's been nice and easy, and I am about through the decreases. So on my gusset, on the first sock. So that has been very enjoyable. And yeah, so that's all my finished objects, all of my finished things. I have 3 other projects on the needles, and that feels like not very much to me. I usually have a whole lot more socks going. I just have been in the mood to just try to do almost like 1 or 2 at a time, just to kind of simplify it a little bit. I've just been enjoying the simplicity of just one. I feel like I have probably some Surrey in my mouth. So the other pair of socks that I have, the other pair of socks that I have on the needles, and I don't know who's going to get which pair of the Jello bowl socks. I don't know who is going to get String of Lights, who's going to get this other one. And then I don't even know what pattern I'm going to do for the third pair. I'm just going to see where it takes me when I get there. But the other pair of socks that I have on the needles is this pair of Regia. And this one is number 5740. And when I plugged that in on Ravelry, it came up that the color name was Troll, but I'm not really sure that that's how they name them. I don't know, but this is a nice little sort of stripy sock, but it has a navy base, which is really cool. And then it's got this purple and green and red and like a light gray color. They've just been very enjoyable. So those are almost done with the gusset decreases also, and then it'll be straight onto the toe. And yeah, those are very enjoyable. The other thing that is on the needles is my daily pullover. So I believe the last time we talked, I had the ribbing on the bottom to do, and I finished that, and I have about 10 rows, I believe, left on the cuff of the first sleeve. So I am super excited. I tried this on as I was knitting the sleeve. I tried it on at one point just to make sure that around the arm was fitting nice. And then I tried it on when I got to the end of the sleeve decreases to see where that was hitting. And it felt like it was going to hit perfectly where I wanted it to. So the daily pullover, here's the sleeve. So the daily pullover is a V-neck sweater, long sleeved, and this is I don't think it's a free pattern, but it's from Pearl Soho, and the yarn that I'm using is from Pearl Soho. I've talked about it before, so I'm not really going to go through that today, but it is their linen quill, and it is a lovely yarn so far. It's a fingering weight. I love a V-neck sweater, so I am super excited to get this one in my wardrobe. I do and don't want to be able to wear it before summer hits. I would love to get it done over the next month or so, but I don't want to still be wearing sweaters at that point. So, you know, it goes like that. So I just need to get myself to finish this sleeve and then pick up the other one and knit that sleeve, because now that I know that I am happy with those sleeve decreases, now I know that the second sleeve I can just knit it to pattern and not worry so much about how it's going to fit and needing to try it on and those things like that. So very excited for this. So that is all of what is on my needles, off my needles. And that's what I've been working on. Oh, hey, Chet. Ramona. Chet. Teddy. Chet. Hey, buddy. Come here. Anywho, okay, so let's see. I'll just give a little recap of what I've been reading. I haven't really been watching much of anything to really share. The last thing we finished most recently was Space Force with Steve Carell. Really enjoyed that. It was just a lighthearted comedy. I recommend it if you're looking for something that's just a couple of seasons and is pretty lighthearted and just silly. I mean, it's Steve Carell, so how heavy can it get, right? So that's probably the most recent thing we've watched that comes to mind anyways. So now we're kind of in between shows, or in between picking something to watch, rather. We're just, when we don't have something specific to watch, we don't know what to do with ourselves. So, but reading wise, so I read a book at night, and then any reading I do during the day, I'm more than likely listening to it. That's just easier for me to do when I'm working or knitting. So what I am currently reading in a paperback is The Second Life of Muriel West, and that is by Amanda Skenendor. Very good book. My mom and my sister highly recommended this to me and passed it down, and it is very good. I find myself reading 2 to 3 chapters a night, and generally I'm like one chapter and I'm falling asleep tired. But this one, the chapters seem to read so quickly and they're not exceedingly long, so I'm able to read easily one, often will read 2. So that is what I am reading. I recently, before this, I finished Fairy Tale by Stephen King, which I believe is what I was reading when I last recorded at the end of January. And so I finished that book, and I have to say it wasn't my favorite when it got to the last like maybe 100 or so less pages. I just found it was really slow. It felt slow to me anyways. It just seemed like there was a lot happening, and it just felt like it got hard to kind of follow. And maybe that was just because I'm reading it at the end of the day, and it was a lot visually to take in and place. So that is what I finished most recently in a hardback book. I finished The Last Bookshop in London, and that is by Madeline Martin. This was a book that I had seen numerous times in the bookstore, and then also it would come up on my recommended for you on the app. And so I just finally picked it up once to read, and it was very enjoyable. Those are the most recent things that I have finished reading and listening to. Yeah. So I have chatted on long enough. How are you guys doing? What are you knitting or crocheting on? Are you ready for spring? Do you have flowers blooming? Are you ready to get out in the yard and work in the yard? I'm ready. I'm ready to get some flats of flowers in a couple of months, and I'm ready to open the windows. I'm ready to have the door open and sunshine coming in. I'm ready to put away the winter coats. All of those things, but that's okay. We'll get there, but we just have a dreary couple of days to get through. I think that is it. I have some laundry to get done, and yeah, people are going to start coming home from school here pretty soon. And yeah, we have spring break next week. And so yeah, we'll just be hanging out. I'm hoping to get some good knitting time in with that. We aren't going anywhere. Don't have any plans necessarily. Just going to relax. Let's see what else. Hey. Oh. Okay. What are you doing? So until I see you next time, I hope you get lots of stolen minutes in your day to work on whatever you are knitting, crocheting, sewing. I finished my daily pullover. I'm wearing it. I love it. Let's see. This is a pattern from Pearl Soho. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on the designer. But it is a V-neck sweater. I knit it out of Pearl Soho's linen quill, and I believe the color is Heatherwood. I should know that. But I knit it per the pattern instructions. The only modification I did was I made it a little bit, I think maybe an inch or two longer. And to be quite honest, I might even next time knit it maybe like just a smidge longer. So let me show you first, and then I'll kind of talk about what I do and don't like and all that good stuff. So I was drawn to this sweater because I love a V-neck sweater. Like, that is my favorite kind of go-to in my closet, and my goal is to only knit things that I want to wear, that I would add to my closet and feel like I would wear them forever. And so I have had V-neck cardigans from Target in the past, and they've always just fit a little more snug than I would prefer. So I was super excited when I saw this sweater and thought, I've got to knit that. So yeah.
So like I said, I made it a little bit longer. It hits just like at the bottom of my waistband, and these are higher waisted jeans, but even I had them on with like a mid-rise and they were okay. The first time I wore it out, I had just steam blocked it. I hadn't wet blocked it. So I did wear a tank top underneath it for that first time. But after blocking it, I think I'm okay to not wear anything underneath it. I think I feel okay with that. So super happy with the fit. I love the sleeves, the length. The arms did grow a little bit in length, but I love that they are not tight, but they aren't big loose sleeves either. One problem that I usually have with most of my sweaters is not liking where the armpit hits. I'm happy with this one. I think maybe if it was up closer, it might make it too tight in other areas. So, super happy with the arm fit of that. I don't enjoy a sweater that comes down too far, just because then it makes it really annoying to wear a coat, and then it pulls it up in your armpit, and so then it's shorter at the waist, and it just creates problems. So that is a focus when I moving forward on sweaters, is I want to make sure I'm getting that armpit up in there and not too low of an armpit there. So like I said, I did everything that the pattern called for, because I thought, okay, this time I'm going to do things as it's written, and then I can make modifications moving forward. So I did all of the bind offs were a tubular bind off, from the sleeve cuffs to the hem to the V-neck. It is a bit of a fiddlier cast off. It's basically like the Kitchener in the motions. By the time I got to the neck, it felt really second nature. I do knit a lot of socks, so I am always doing the Kitchener and have felt comfortable doing that without instructions while talking on the phone. Like all of the levels that you kind of go through in knitting, where things become much more comfortable and sort of automatic, if you will. So excuse me, I just have a tickle that is taking forever to go away. I got a cold at the end of March over spring break, and it is just now in the I'm going to be a tickle in your throat stage, which is lots of fun for everybody. So yes, the pattern, tubular bind off, 100% all the way, do it. I think I have the tutorial that I used linked in my Ravelry notes, and that's where you'll find all of the information for any pattern or anything that I share on here. I'll link my Ravelry down below, and you can go check out all of the yarn details, needle sizes. I try to take notes on things as far as modifications I make and things like that. So yeah, that will all be there too. The pattern calls for short rows at the neck and short rows at the bottom back, to make the back longer than the front. And then also to bring the neck up. Before I started, I saw a lot of people saying that they were going to omit the short rows, or they did omit them. I will say, I think moving forward, I probably will omit the ones on the back of the neck. I don't know if you can see, but you can see like it just wants to like raise up, kind of like curl or bunch right there. It just feels a little full. So I probably will take those out, because honestly, if it will want to ride up higher than I want it to, which is the point of those short rows, but then it can make a weird like bump there. So I would probably omit those next time. I'm undecided about the ones on the back. I like that it rises a little higher in the front than the back. I think that looks nice. But I wonder if I would like it if I just made the whole thing like an inch longer and didn't do the short rows. I'm curious to try that. I do want to knit more of these. Gosh, I want one in every color. It doesn't even have to be linen quill, although this is a pretty affordable knit. This yarn, it's fingering weight, and I believe the skeins, they're a little less than $20, like $19 or something. And they do go on sale from time to time. I knit whatever is equivalent to the extra large. I think it was a 45 or probably a 45-inch bust size-ish, whatever that one is, around that size. And I used 2.5 plus skeins. So 3 skeins and I could make another sweater. So that is fantastic. I love the weight of a fingering weight sweater. This yarn is, it's linen merino blend. So it does have a little bit of a fuzz to it. And it's got a little bit of that linen, gives it that heathered look. So it's just, I don't know, I love it. And I think a lot of the linen quill looks that way. I have some of a very like lipstick pink. I think it's their rhubarb, and it still has that white linen in it. Love that one. That is my next one that I want to do, but goodness, I would love this in a black. I would love it in a charcoal gray. I have a gray V-neck, from Target that's like seriously 10 years old or something. And that is probably, you know, used to be my most worn sweater ever. That gray just goes with everything. So when I find a perfect gray, yeah, you can bet I probably will make one of these. I did start this sweater in February of 2022, and I certainly took my time knitting it. I really picked it back up after the new year. I had knit through the body. It has you start with the V-neck. You're knitting to, I believe, like the bottom of the V. You're knitting that flat, and then you join it in the round, and you do a little bit, I think, before the sleeve split. It's been like a year, so sorry that I don't remember all of the details. And then you knit the rest of the body. You bind off the hem. Yeah, I bound off the hem. When was that? That was it in the fall? No, it was in February. I bound off the bottom in February. So I had picked it up in the fall and worked on the body. And then I got to the bind off, the tubular bind off, the first one that I was going to do. And of course, you know, it's lots of stitches. So I knew that it was going to take me a while, and I just knew that I wanted to sit down and kind of try to do it all in one fell swoop. So I sat down and did that and bound it off. And then it sat for a while, and I picked up the sleeve stitches, knit the sleeves, did the neck fairly quickly. I tried to really focus on it. I just really wanted to be able to wear this a few more times before it got too warm. And today I think is going to be probably one of the last days that I'll want to wear a sweater. So even though I just washed it, and I could totally just stick it in the drawer and say, I'll wear it, you know, next time that, you know, the next fall or whatever, when it's cold again. But I really, okay, we've got a cat coming up here. Hi, Chet. Chet says hi. Oh, sorry, buddy. What was I saying? So anyways, yeah, so I could totally, I feel like I kind of wasted that wash if I wear it today, but to be honest, I just want to wear it. I just want to wear it and enjoy it. That's just where I'm at. So I'm going to wear this today, and just wash it again. It's all good. But this is where I love it. I love it. I love the color. I love the fit. I cannot wait to cast another one on. It is not going to be the next thing that I cast on, though. because I have a couple of other sweaters that I'm wanting to cast on. So, finished object number 1. The next thing that I finished was a pair of socks, and I believe I shared these in my last podcast that I have yet to upload. I think I probably will combine this little bit with that one and mash it up, just because life has been too crazy lately and I just haven't done it. So this is a pair of socks that I finished. This is a Regia yarn. Really, really, really happy with these. I had this yarn in my stash for a little while. And who doesn't just love a good vanilla sock that you know, just knit away? I find myself often, I might do, every once in a while, I like to do a contrast heel toe, or I like to do a scrappy stripy sock. But then it's like, I'll do that, and then I'm just like craving a straight vanilla stockinette sock. So this fit the bill perfectly. And I can't wait to get these in my drawer. I finished this over the weekend. I made another Musselburgh. This is number 8 for me. This is out of Knit Picks, Wool of the Andes, sport weight. Really, really nice purple. And I knit this one for my youngest. I really, really like the way the sport weight knits up. All right, I'm gonna put it on. I'm not a huge hat person, but I really like it. It's fun. It's just nice and squishy, and this will be super warm. I had knit one in a red for my oldest in this exact same yarn, and really, really liked the way it came out. So while I love the fingering weight of these, I'm really loving the sport weight a lot. So I have yarn for another red one, and then a dark inky black blue for my husband. So 2 more sport weights are for sure in my future. And these use 2 and a little over a half skeins of that Wool of the Andes sport weight from Knit Picks. So I think I had bought 4 because that was what the math was kind of telling me. That was what the pattern was kind of telling me. But I got it out with a little less than 3. So a great knit. The stockinette for miles and miles is just amazing. So I knit this a lot in the car. I knit on this pretty exclusively. I'm not sure how, I cannot remember when I started it. I don't remember, but I was pretty exclusive with it. I have just been finishing off socks one by one, and I cast this on instead of another pair of socks. So that is how it got so much attention. Because if I have socks on my needles, I'm going to pick them up. It's just the way it is. So those are all of my most recent finished objects. I have cast on 2 new pairs of socks. The first one that I will talk about, I've got this one. I just got through the cuff on this, and loving, loving, loving this yarn. Oops, sorry, my light. There we go. This is Land of Misfit Toys from a homespun house, and this is really fun. So pinks, and there's a little bit of turquoise and green. This one is right up my alley. So again, it's just going to be plain vanilla sock. These are for my mom, and yeah, they are going to be fun. I'm excited about these. This is the pair that I will work on for my mom. So back in the day, that was kind of how I always did it. I would have one pair for me, one pair for my mom, and then like that was it. And then I've just gone through different phases where I'll just cast on a whole bunch, maybe for summer, because I know that I just want to pull and pick up a vanilla sock and they get into the heel stage and different stages. And sometimes it's just not quite as portable to take. But I've decided that for the moment, until summer, probably, I'm going to just knit 2 pairs. The second one that I have recently cast on is a self-striping. These are for me. This is Southern Charm by Rock and String Creations. And I know that she just recently changed her business name. I just cast these on yesterday and I knit on them a little bit while I ate lunch. And then I had a little bit of knitting time while dinner was finishing up. And then I knit on them for a little bit while we watched TV last night. So these got a pretty good amount of work on them. I think I have about 4 more stripes until the heel. So we'll see if I get any of that done today. I don't know. So yeah, always got to have a self-striping on the needles. I want to knit a ranunculus. Have you knit a ranunculus? I'm going to be wild and crazy and pick needles that I like the gauge of, and just kind of pick a size after I do the yoke. That's my plan right now. I've seen some other people talk about their ranunculus and how after you do the textured part, you have a little bit of raglan increases that's just stockinette after that. And so I have some Shibui yarn from when I worked in a yarn store several years ago. I just think it would be perfect for a ranunculus. Shibui, if you have ever used it, typically it's a blending kind of yarn where you want to hold 2 different types together to get another. It's a linen and a merino that I will hold together. And so I just think that would be a fantabulous pair for a ranunculus. I have to decide if I want to make it, I think I'll wait and see what the fabric feels like, if I want to make the short sleeve one or if I want to make longer sleeves on it. I hope you guys are enjoying every bit of your knitting or crochet. That is all I've got for today. I hope you have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.